Good morning. I am headed to Camp Galilee this morning for a meeting, and so I thought I'd just record this on the way up. But I just wanted to share a thought with you. I'm actually on my way down to the church right now, where I will pick up some notes that I need for the meeting. But I ran across a passage in Hebrews that reminded me of something that someone told me. The passage in Hebrews comes from Hebrews chapter 13. It's from verse 21. It says, "Now the peace of God make you perfect in every good work to do His will, working in you that which is well pleasing in His sight." I know I shouldn't be reading and driving. Working that which is well pleasing in His sight. It made me think about something that someone told me about one of the teachers that their child had. This child used to have a teacher, and this child is grown now, but the child used to have a teacher that used to have a statement, or used to have a comment that became kind of her buzzword that all of her students picked up on and kind of have carried in life. But she used to tell them, do this project like it was your ticket to heaven. Work on this project like it was your ticket to heaven. In other words, what she was saying is do the very best that you're capable of doing. And this friend of mine said she had almost forgotten about that until the other day. Her daughter, who has become somewhat of an artist, sat down at an easel to start a new painting, and she got out her brush and she heard her whisper to herself, do this like it was your ticket to heaven. It made me stop and think about the attitude that we should do things in. That when we're working on a project, when we're doing things, we should be doing them to the glory of God. We should be doing them the very best that we can, and not just doing what is good enough to get by. Oftentimes in this high-pressured, very rushed world that wants things done yesterday, and you always feel like you're under the gun, we get in the habit of just doing what we have to do to get the job done so we can move on to the next project, because we're under pressure to get it finished up. We've all been there, we've all done that. But God's Word tells us we're supposed to do things that are pleasing in His sight, because in doing the best that we can, it reflects on our character, and our character reflects on God's glory. It reflects on how people see God. You say, well, how can work ethic really become much of a witness for Christ? People look at us, and if they look at us and see something they admire, then they want to look a little deeper in our lives and see why that exists, why that's part of our lives. And if we can point to the fact, if they look at our lives and say, well, you know what, he or she does that or works like that because, not just because they want to do the best for their employer, or because they want to do the best for their family or anything like that, but they want to do the best they can to be pleasing in God's sight, to reflect well on God. That comes out, and that says volumes to people about who we are and why we are who we are. So I want you to think about that this morning. Are you reflecting God's glory in all that you do? Are you doing your project as though it was your ticket to heaven? Are you doing the best that you can? I believe God calls us to a higher standard. I believe God calls us to a standard that says, I want you to do the very best that you can, so that when people look at you, they don't have to grumble and say, well, if that's a Christian, I don't want to be like them. But they look at us and they admire us and say, there's something about that person that drives them to be exceptional. We don't have to be more intelligent than others. We don't have to have skills that exceed everybody else, but sometimes that's beyond our reach. But we can do our very best every time we do something, and that will reflect on the kind of person that God has called us to become. Well, time's up. I got to go. You have a great day today, and Lord willing, I will see you tomorrow. God bless.